Welcome back to another Design League playthrough, and today we're looking at 15eicheltower9, the artist also known as J Kenyon, or Not a Burner account. And we're going to look at his course, which has got some really nice little planting. Love Boreal done like this. I think it works really well. So we're going to zoom up as per usual, and you can see he's popped some houses and a road. Like, that's a nice way of kind of containing it. And we've got a creek working its way through as well, which I really like. So we've got our 350 by 800. I assume that's 350? Yeah, I guess so. 350 is like the length of a hole, so that works. And 800 this way. So yeah, we're going to give this one a play. Oh, my guy has disappeared. So the one thing I do know about this though is that Kenyon had a crash when he was building this, so lost a lot of work. The file corrupted, so I know he wanted to plant it very differently, and I think he's just tried to see how serviceable like autogen trees plus everything else are, as you can see with like bushes here. So we're not going to make a big deal of that because we know what happened. I do really like the low-lying creek. I think that works nicely. His greens always tend to have a lot of interest, so we do have some interesting slopes. I would argue, I see this quite a lot with a number of playthroughs. I commented it particularly, I think, in Dream Team. You've got a lot of these big mounds and then they very quickly vanish into nothing. They kind of go quite flat quite quickly. So I think if we're looking at it, I don't know, there's some awkwardness where you've got one bead staying dead still and some here, and usually that's a product of using rays and not just like flattening so the slopes are more constant, which is fine on fairways. When it's on greens it can get a little bit dicey. I like starting with a par 3, and I think it's a really good site for a par 3. Green are probably a little on the big side. If I'm honest, I don't really understand this slope here because it's funneling you down to a part of the green that's not usable. I think I'd have done something differently with this one. I almost think this would have been better as a plateau, because that way you're challenging this bunker in order to get to this pin position. Every other slope on this green I really like. I probably would have made the spine so that it's just yellow pretty much either side. That way you could bring, so if you shuffled this slope this way, that makes the front portion a bit more usable. And I think you can just get a bit more pinnable space out of this green, keeping roughly the same slopes. But like, this look is really good. Framing on this side's great. Like, yeah, you'd have wanted to do a bit more with the planting, like having seen what your original was, but it's not a bad substitute. And I think the road in the back works really nicely as well. That's a very clever way of filling space when you've not got a huge amount of time. So yeah, as you can see, we've got some really big slopes, and then I'd like probably just a little more movement here, kind of feeding off this slope, and it goes dead flat, and then it starts sloping again. But that might be personal preference, I don't know. Equally, I've built a course that has dead flat greens in parts as well as Siona, so. And it's a first hole, and that's pin 1, so maybe different pins are different places. Okay. So a little bit more of a narrows in that you're challenging these bunkers. I like that the fairway is diagonal, so pulling it, you want to be thinking about both line and distance, which is always a pro. If we're looking at the green, these green slopes are really good. As in the balance. I don't know if I love the green kind of sitting up but also falling down this way. The two seem a little at odds with the bunkers here. Nitpicking though. I like that we're now hitting across the creek. We just hit across it one direction, we're now heading back across the other direction. So I guess kind of similar. I feel planting wise you gain a lot by losing some of these bushes. I know you were using autogen, but I think some selective culling would have helped there. And this pin's a good one because we can just run the ball down, which is nice. Bunker work looks pretty decent. I mean, there's some flattening we can do. I think fuzzy brush on rays will get rid of some of these awkward little bumps, or it might be where the brushes don't quite overlap. It's always hard to tell. But liking this. I mean, there's a clear strategy off the tee. I do like the way those bunkers kind of come out of the planting. I think the second one possibly goes up a little bit high. That top little bit I might lose. Just compared to the others, it's a bit more striking. So I'm worrying that this might go a little too long, but if we loft it a touch, the wind's making this interesting. I mean, planting wise, I know you were looking at this, and it is serviceable. You obviously gain a lot more by putting down the tree lines that you want and kind of varying high points and what have you, but it's not bad. So we've had mid par 3, short par 4. See what we've got next. Okay, we've got drivable par 4 after short par 4. Drivable par 4s, as we've talked about, the question is always like, why would you not go for it? I'm trying to, and you always want to think of there must be a must not go. So what I'm really looking for when I'm scrolling around this is, like, where's the place that is absolute death if I end up? I don't really think there is one. If I'm in the bunker, that's a splash up and down. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more danger on this one would have been good. I'm sure I'll find some danger, but I don't think it's necessarily a... So even though that's obviously not where we should end up, I don't think it's that bad of a miss. Ah, not quite. Because like, and I know we're... he says, and then it all just goes badly. That bunker's nicely sculpted and the wall and what have you. I still maintain I've hit some very bad shots there. I don't think that changes the thoughts on this. I think with a drivable par 4 you've got to give the player a reason. I'll just load up the hole. You've got to give the player a reason to really want to use this fairway by making this very tight. And yeah, we're going to make bogey because we've missed and then we've hit a poor splash and got an awkward sort of splash shot up here. But I think that's more, I've just hit some very bad shots rather than necessarily made the wrong decision. And I don't think it's quite weighted in the way if you wanted players to lay up, if that makes sense. I mean, the case in point would be we've made bogey, so like it's not great, but I don't know. I think 9 times out of 10 if you go for that green you're probably making birdie. Here's a fun tee shot. And I guess the creek's really coming into play for... That's very nicely done, the low falls. Goodness me, he's used loads of them. Yeah, I do really like the way you've done this. I mean, the autogen bushes maybe a little less so, but... And the sculpting is... Yeah... I can see what we're trying to do. It's just a little bit heavy in how it flows into the fairway and then up. But I do like that now you're really challenging, particularly. I mean, in this wind, it's hopefully make an easy carry, but different driver, different wind. This would be something that really starts asking a question. Yeah, as you can see, we're not having too many problems. Really nice little green site down there as well. This green probably feels a little too bumpy. Not all of it. I think you've got a pin trapped between 2 slopes here, which is, I think, either keep this one or this one, but not both. I'd probably lose this one. Just flatten it out, so it's still sloping this way, but even then, the land is all going this way. I don't really like that it's dropping down this way. You'd expect it to slope hard this way. And that also encourages people to play it a little bit closer to this side. It kind of does. I don't know. I don't think this... Because actually with where this slope is, it's now actually encouraging me to play closer this side, whereas you'd want me tempting the water, I think, a little more. I might be wrong. I mean, you've put bunkers there, so... And this is going to be an interesting part. Yeah, I just feel these slopes are a little random rather than necessarily considered. Like they're doing a bit of everything, which can be fine, but I don't know whether you'd necessarily put the pin there. Why would you not pop it down here? Or I don't know. There's just a bit too much different movement in different directions, personally. But a little bit more of a nitpick than anything else, and not saying by any means it's a bad pin, because it's a fun part. But yeah, that you can see that little wobble at the end where it came back the other way, and it's suddenly turning this way and then turning this way. I just think you want with your greens, you generally want people to be able to picture the slopes before they putt, not have it feel like it's. I guess not have it feel like it's a lottery. Lovely par 3 setting. Funky as hell green. This is asking for precision. I like that you've given a slope as a backstop, so if I go for it and go a bit long, it's going to drag it back down, but I can't be short, and if I'm long, I've got to chip down this, and the sensible play is just to hit to the fat of the green and have a 2-putt. So we'll try to do that, but obviously we hit the very slow out of nowhere because my computer is stupid. Still, we do have a backstop. And yep, excellent. Clearly should not have just stepped on and done these after a long day at work. This is good though. If we're thinking about different pin positions, you've got a variety of different ways, and each one gives you options of how you're going to get to that pin, which I quite like. I think it's the green shape's maybe a little forced and doesn't necessarily fit with the previous ones, but I like it as an idea, and I think it's one of those quirky holes that can stand out on a little loop of 9, or 6 in this case. So this is good. Again, you've got a nice tight drive. I think this is a great drive for a par 5, and you've got OB. I mean, we'll ignore the fact that you haven't flattened the road, because like time pressure and that. Creeks in again, visually here, which I like. I would have liked you to have dropped the land here so we can see it a little bit more, I think. If you've got your big feature, show it off as much as you can. That's an awkward little drive, isn't it? Because that road and outbounds is so well placed at the diagonal. It's a very there's a whole old Sunset Field that this reminds me of. Can't remember which one. Yeah, sculpting's a little bit awkward here. I'm on a very high up slope. That's just going to again mean that the approach is maybe a little more random than you'd want it to be. And I like the green again. Here, it's you want to be below the hole. I'm still not sure I love the pin positions. Just, I don't know. I feel there are better pin positions on this green than this one, but that might well be personal preference because I don't tend to like putting them in the middle of constant slopes. Then again, it's a short, very reachable par 5, so, and it's still a birdie, so I guess it's absolutely fine. And in spite of all those tempo ways, we have finished 1 under. That's a lot of fun. There's a lot of variety in there. You've got some really different holes. I love that you kept 2 par 5s and 2 par 3s. That really helped it. Actually, the plant meter woes didn't seem to hit you too badly. It's definitely short. I guess the 2 par 3s will help do that, and 2 shortish par 5s. Yeah, just really enjoyed it. I mean, there's a few things I'd pick up on, like mostly the green sculpting and like some of the general land sculpting, but I know that you were rushed with doing this, so completely understand. That's a lot of fun though, and like can see that concept working really well as an 18-hole loop as well. So yeah, best of luck and really enjoyed it.